asked to tie, or if I can tie, a Paraloop winged fly, which is like this. I'll show you. This is a Paraloop wing, or a Paraloop fly, which is basically a hackle formed using a loop. Now, I've been asked could I put a wing on one. Now, I have basically messed about a wee bit, but this is, you can try it, you can see how it goes. I mean, I've only tied a couple just to sort of adjust the idea of these, or doing it. And I use CDC, which seem to work quite well. How can I show you here? On this one here, I put CDC on the Paraloop. And I actually used deer hair as well. I tried it, which is not too bad. That's the deer hair with a Paraloop hackle. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try one. I'm going to show you how to tie one, hopefully. And I'm going to use a quill body and do a pattern of my own, which is a nice, easy fly to tie normally, but with the wing it's going to make it a wee bit more fiddlier. Now the other thing I'm going to show you, it's going to come out a bit, is I don't have a gallows tool. And what I've got here, this is the handle from a paint pot, which basically what I've done is I've cut the end off, which would be like that, on either side, and I've put it into, there's a wee fitting that I've got in the side of my vise which holds the arm for the rotary action. Now I'm going to tie an olive quilled Paraloop, just a small sort of dry fly I like, but I'm going to do it in this style and hopefully add a wing, make it look good. Now thread I'm going to use, I'm just going to use a light Cahill, in this case an 8/0 uni thread. I'm going to wax my thread. Hook I'm using is a Kamasan, it's a B170 size 16. Start at the eye, just going to come down maybe 2 or 3 mil, and then come just up a wee bit, and we tie in 2 CDC feathers, 2 small CDC feathers, just to give the impression of a wing. I'm just going to tie them forward, and hopefully they'll stay out the way till I need them. So you want to get the wings round about where they would normally sit in the dry fly, which is about this point here. So I'm just going to bring the fibres together, but try and get the feathers to curve away from one another, so you're basically seeing the inside of the feathers, so that when you bring over the Paraloop hackle it will split. Length, you're looking round about the length of the hook, forward of the eye. It's a pinch and loop on the top, nice and tight, and then we're going to carry on down along the shank, but firstly I'm going to trim away the waist, and then hopefully with that tapered cut, we'll get a tapered body, which we're looking for. Now wind down until we're basically in line with the barb of the hook. Now I've got a genetic neck here, this is a Cree. And I use one of the side feathers for the tails. So I'm just going to, these are quite stiff fibres, they're ideal for tails of your dry fly. You can use whatever you want, I mean you can use microfibres, Coq de Leon. Now just remove the fluff, bring out a good half a dozen or so fibres. Tail length, round about the hook length. Just going to tie it basically with a turn on the top, pushes onto the bare hook, bring the thread underneath the fibres, and then use this turn to lift and separate. Just do a turn to lock it down. There we are. You can see how the tails separate nice. Then I'm going to trim this about halfway. Just trim away the waist. That's the measure for my body. Now, what my body is. This is the Peacock eye, which I've dyed. I've dyed it Sunburst. And now the yellow and the natural colour mixes really well to give you a nice kind of olive, a golden olive, if you want to call it. But I'm taking one of the fibres from further along the feather and not from the eye, when it's slightly darker. So I've stripped the hell away, just running my nail through it. You can use a rubber, whatever you like. Now I'm going back with this turn, keeping the thread tight, and then tie it on so that I don't have a distance between the tail and the body material. And then nice and neat, wind your thread up. At this point, just there. Now use some super glue. This will help stick the quill to the body and obviously make it last a lot longer. Then you're looking, touching. Turns all the way up. You can see I tied it in by the tip, so it's starting off fine and then getting heavy as it goes up. At this point here, then across your thread, I'm going to tie it off. Now, I'm going to get the Cree hackles. Length of the fibre, you can get away with quite a long fibre with these, but just a kind of nice length, something that you're going to sort of learn to pick the length that suits yourself. Now I'm just going to tie this with the good side of the feather, so facing up, bare some of the stem. I'm taking the thread down to the wing. Now I'm going to break this off, so it's nice and tight when I do it. Well, trim it away. Normally it breaks away quite easy, but it's a good sign the feathers are good. Then I'm going to form a small loop. Just basically bring your finger underneath and wind over this thread. Don't have the loop too long, you don't want it a length where you're not going to manage. Take it up to the quill. And then I'm going to bring in my hook here to catch the loop. There we are. And then we're going to wind, forming the paraloop hackle. Just wind up. Now the distance you want to wind up is basically so that it reaches the head length away from the eye of the hook. And then we go up and then back down. Till you're happy. And then what I'm going to do is follow around, bring the thread up, follow the hackle. And basically you've got to just use your fingers here and bring the thread through and round. Same way you wound the hackle. And then 2 or 3 times you can strengthen it up by taking the thread up into the hackle and then slightly back down. Don't want too many turns. It's quite fiddly, but just take your time. And you're happy with that, and then we can trim away the hackle, and we can use this. There's enough on that for another fly, so don't throw it away. Now this is where it's fiddly. Normally you wouldn't have a wing here, so what I want to do is separate these. Just take these back, these fibres, so they're evenly split either side of the thread. You may miss 1 or 2, but don't worry too much. Now what I'm going to do is remove the loop from the gallows tool, hold the wing. Just going to have to persevere with this to get it the way we want. It's just a couple of fibres here that I want out of the way. Just tidy this area up. There we go. Now a bit of dubbing, just going to use a natural dubbing here, just dyed a yellow, just like a hare's ear or so. I'll just show you. This one here. A nice dubbing, it's a rabbit blend. Don't want it too heavy. Lightly dub it onto your thread. You're going to need some for this side and from the front of the wing. You obviously leave that there. And then we come in with the dubbing. Now what you want to do is check it's right at the body, and that's fine. Spine through, lift your wing to the front. Use the dubbing to lift the wing. And you'll see how we want to do is separate it so they can bring the hackle through. And then we just basically lift. Got the loop here so we can put our finger into it. Through in between the wings. It's the only way I could think you could actually do this, so it seems to work okay. Looks alright. Put a wing in the Paraloop. The Paraloop's a good hackling style. And it's actually good for using up these small genetic hackles. They're quite stiff stems, and they're ideal for tying the Paraloop. Now, I've just, as you can see, I've tied it down, folded back the thread so it's tucked back. It's never going to pull out. And what I'm going to do is just check the head length, see that it's like, yeah, it looks not too bad. You could put a tiny bit of dubbing in front, which I might do. Just get a wee tiny bit of dubbing, just to tidy up that area. I mean, you don't have to do this. This is just fly tying fun. And put some varnish onto my thread, just about a centimetre from the eye. Finish, which will make it nice and strong. There you go. Tighten that up. Throw away your thread. It looks not too bad. It looks actually quite good. You can obviously mess about with it. You tidy it up a wee bit. Just a couple of stray fibres, just trim them out of the way. You can see the wing you get. So that's the only way. That's the way I've sort of messed about to try and get the wing. I enjoyed tying that. It's a bit of fun. And then make your own gallows tool. Saves a bit of money. Even though I've got one somewhere in my room and I can't find it. So I hope you enjoyed that.